If this is a business psychologist or whatever, I tell him, I take your business, put it on the couch, and I put a box of tissues and let your business speak.
My name is Paul Harvey, and this is Life, Passion and Business. We're about helping you explore, finding your passion for life and the work that you do. But it's so much more than that. It's about finding clues to the big life questions. What does it mean to be successful? What is the meaning of life? If you're looking for more, then join me on this journey where together we will discover through interviews, tools and tips how to live life full of meaning, passion and purpose. Welcome. My guest on the show today was born in Israel, Isaac Mostovicz. Now our story begins at the age of 26 when he was offered a senior role at the diamond manufacturer Muller and Sons. A life-changing opportunity for him and his family as it meant relocating to Antwerp in Belgium. The 1980s was an exciting time. Business was booming and Isaac was eager and inspired to be in the luxury diamond market. He did well, pioneering new styles of cutting and polishing precious stones. His passion and dedication turned the factory into one of the very best in the industry. He achieved that success by giving his production team the freedom and encouragement to express their personality through diamond polishing as true artisans. Success brought rewards and he became the CEO of the company. It also earned him both respect and a reputation within the industry. Sales were good, the money was good, but Isaac could see the industry was flawed and he had some questions. The company's success opened doors to conversations with some of the diamond industry's biggest names. In every meeting, Isaac always asked the same question: why do people buy diamonds? Isaac was troubled with the answers he received, and it led him on to a quest to find the truth for himself. He took up study, completing an MBA and went on to achieve a PhD in luxury marketing and consumer behaviour, all while continuing to run this successful business. Like many luxury markets, the diamond business was a house of cards that collapsed when the 2008 financial crash hit. Our conversation is a journey through diamond history and the rise and fall of the business, through the eyes of someone who lived and saw the crash coming. After 40 years in business, Isaac was out of work. Our conversation is a story of reinvention. It is about the importance of feelings and emotions and passion. Today, Isaac works with C-suite decision makers and founders to emotionally reconnect them to their business. He's researched and coached C-suite decision makers on leadership, ethics, corporate responsibility and corporate governance. I was so engrossed in this conversation that I hadn't noticed some of the background noises, so please excuse them. I hope you enjoy the conversation with Isaac Mostovicz. Today's conversation is with Isaac Mostovicz, and he is the business psychologist and mentor. And it's very clear in life, everything we do, it all starts in the head, and particularly in business, it all starts in the head. So Isaac, thank you so much for being here today with me. I am so looking forward to this conversation. So tell me, how do you get passionate about what you do?
Okay, here you have the answer. You'll say that everything starts with the head, yep, which I disagree with because everything starts with the heart. So you have to be passionate about what you are doing. You have to enjoy what you are doing. You have to feel that you are creating something, that you are contributing something to the world. And there are many ways of how you contribute to yourself, to the world, how you advance, how you jumping out of bed, what kicks you out of bed every morning, because if you just going to repeat the same what you did yesterday, no reason why to get out of bed. But if you force yourself to go to sleep knowing that you have to continue tomorrow, then you are encouraged, you are motivated, you are passionate about what you are doing.
So how did you discover this? Because clearly you've been on a journey or something, because I know you now live in Israel. I know you've lived in various places of the world, so it would be really fascinating to hear how your story unfolded.
Okay, I started here in Israel, and then I moved to Belgium. I got an excellent offer at about the age of 26 to go and to work in the diamond industry. At that time, diamond industry was a great industry. And I joined a company which later on I became the CEO of it. And I still remember my first question. And that was what motivated me to eventually, with this one question, or what brought me to that question, that motivated me thereafter. I remember sitting in the office and telling my father-in-law, who was my boss, I understand what I have to do in business. I buy for 100, I sell for 200 if I'm a manufacturer. This is a different calculation, but always I buy for low and I sell for high, and I make profit. That's normal business. But one thing I don't understand, how the retail customer can go to a shop. How does he know how much to spend on what to buy, what to purchase, what kind of diamond to purchase, what is the suitable diamond for him, what is the suitable price for him, what his decision is? And I didn't get an answer. And it nagged me. It took me about 10 years. I remember being in Japan, and I opened the office in Japan. I realized that the market, the diamond market, is working completely disassociated from its clients, from the retail customer. Because at that time, I started to work with the retailers. Working with retailers meant that I'm sitting in the shop and talking to their clients. Wasn't that easy in Japan because they are very private people, but still I managed to ask them questions. I didn't receive answers. So I said, okay, something is wrong over here. I'm going to study. I thought I'll find answers if I do an MBA. I didn't find answers, but I found great people who could help me. And then I thought, okay, let's go to the source. I went to the directors of the beers, who were clients of the beers. I went to these directors and I told them, maybe you have answers for me. They didn't even realize that I have a question. So I had no way but to go and research it. So on academic level, I made my PhD. And anyways, I was doing my PhD, I started to realize what's going over here. I had another office in the United States that was very successful. Because I could understand what happens, we could apply it into our marketing work. And you have to remember that even if we understood the marketing, we had still to educate our retailers, the jewelers. We had to educate them because they were in contact with the retail customer, and we were very successful with it. We sold 20, 30, 40% above the market price in a very, very competitive environment. And then I realized that the market is going to collapse. The reason why the market is going to collapse because they didn't understand. They didn't understand what is going over here. They started to sell. They sold. Actually, they didn't start then. They sold diamonds like you sell potatoes with one difference. Potatoes get rotten if you don't sell them on time. Diamonds are forever. So they didn't have even an incentive to move out stock.
So just for my audience, I mean, are diamonds genuinely a valuable product, or is it a commodity that has been created as a valuable product?
This is an excellent question. We are talking about luxury.
I know we're talking about luxury, but a big diamond certainly is a luxury.
Okay, let me explain you.
But a small diamond, they must be millions of small diamonds.
Okay, we are talking about. I'll split the answer into two because you jump in with very, very, very good questions. That means I'll answer you, and then the second question will jump out immediately. What is luxury? And I'll give you a definition that sounds very negative, which is wrong. It sounds that it is overspending over something that that is unnecessary, that you don't need. When I say overspending, I'm talking about overspending our assets. It's time, money, energy. Imagine somebody who wants to climb the Himalaya.
Mm.
It costs money. He has to make a lot of preparation and spend a lot of time. Not guarantee that he'll reach the peak. And when he reaches the peak, he has time to make a photo, maybe put a flag. I was here and going down, because otherwise he'll die.
I think it's about $40,000 to $40,000 to climb Everest. I think something like that.
Who knows?
It's
Too
a lot
much.
of money.
For my opinion, it's too much. From his opinion, this is a great investment. So here you have immediately the format of what luxury is. For me, is nothing. For somebody else, this is all his life. So you have to understand what motivates them. That was my PhD. That was what I was looking to understand. Now, when you look at the diamond market, diamonds by themselves are worthless. What I mean by worthless is, regardless to the fact that the rarity and all those, all this stuff, what do you do with it? Nothing. Nothing, unless you are James Bond, that you can cut the window to jump in. But normally, there's nothing what to do. You can't eat it, you can't drink it. You just can wear it on your finger. That's the most you can do. But it satisfies the same way it satisfies anybody who is using luxury. And we are, all of us are using luxury, because all of us are spending time about something that we love. We don't need to. Spending money about what we enjoy, actually something with that we don't need. We can survive. You don't have to wear this sweater. I believe that if I go to your closet, I'll find 100, not 100, but 10 other sweaters that you could wear. So why do you need this sweater? Because you enjoy it, because you want it. This is luxury.
Yeah.
And this is part of us. So that's what happened with with diamond, especially with the engagement ring type or engagement ring moment, because this people are going through certain psychological phases that they want to express it using diamonds. And it happens, for example, when somebody has grown children and his daughter-in-law arrives with a larger diamond that his wife has.
Yeah.
So the second, immediately you'll see the husband going and buying even a larger diamond for his wife, to say, she is my daughter-in-law, but you are worth much better. You have it in China. You have it in China that when there is the parents-in-law who buys the diamonds for the daughter-in-law. So the smaller diamond for the daughter-in-law, a larger diamond for the wife. Excuse me.
That's a kind of cultural kind of thing, isn't it? Though, in those kind of,
yeah,
I'd imagine certainly in the UK, engagements are very rare these days.
Okay. What happened was I wanted to go to answer another question that you asked and I can't answer, but let's go into an engagement. The engagement story started in the United States, actually, because they didn't have a tradition. They didn't have a tradition for engagement, so they'll tell you all kind of stories that they started 500 years ago when the Duke of I don't remember, a duke who offered to his wife and future wife and a diamond, and that was the story of an engagement ring. I remember years ago reading in Newsweek a story about how this engagement ring came from, and it was kind of I think that the story has something to do. They said like this, that at that time, if a woman a single woman, wasn't a virgin. She has no, had no chance to get married. So as long as she wasn't engaged, she kept her virginity. But once she got engaged and she is going to get to marry this person, and some girls weren't that careful. But what happened when the future husband decided to leave her for somebody else, and then she was left with nothing. So she had to have a certain means of living.
A token of
That a token really means for living.
Okay.
Now, she couldn't have a bank account or cash, running around with cash. So she got a diamond as security because it's small. She can carry it all over the world with her. And when she settles, she'll sell it, and she could live happily for the end until the end of the life. When I told it to managers of De Beers, they smiled and told me, "Don't tell it. Don't tell it because it's going to kill our business." Okay, so now I can tell it because I left the business about 10 years ago. But I'm going back to questions that you raised about those tiny diamonds. And what happens here is the diamond business actually started big when they promoted the engagement ring and the engagement ring type. And the Beers wasn't the Beers. And the Anthony Oppenheimer, who was the second after his father, he took over as a manager, the general manager, and he asked the ad company to help him with the idea of promoting diamonds. They came with the slogan, diamonds are forever, or a diamond is forever. And he didn't care too much. They say, I sell it. He wanted to sell on a steady basis because there were miners. So they get the supply on a steady basis. So he wanted to be able to sell his diamonds on a steady basis. And they came with this idea, and the engagements are throughout the year, not only in Christmas and New Year. Actually, the Christmas, New Year, nobody's getting engaged. Usually, they're getting engaged in the spring or the autumn, and who knows when. So this idea appealed to him. So he said, "Okay, go ahead and do it as long as I'm making money and I'm happy." They were kind of disassociated from the marketing of diamonds. They were so disassociated with it, so they market all their diamonds, all the production, the same way. Around the 70s, 1970s, so 1975, Indian came in, and they discovered that they can polish even what you call near diamonds, or very, very cheap diamonds, tiny diamonds of low quality. They call them semi-gem. And they can polish it. And they try to market these diamonds with the same idea. The market, that the large diamonds that you can, that you would offer to your wife, you offer to your fiancé. You can imagine what happened with it. I remember when I first started to look at the market, it was end of the 90s, close to the millennium. And De Beers came with a graph that shows that the market of diamonds didn't follow with the market of luxury. Market of luxury went up. The 90s were very successful years financially and economically, and diamonds didn't make it. Okay, and I looked at it and I didn't understand it until I arrived for my PhD. The same graph. And my supervisor pushes on me, "You have to write about the diamond market." And I look again at the graph, and I see at the beginning of the graph, there was a small blip. That means it's not throughout the 90s that the diamond business started to decline in comparison to other luxuries. But in the earlier 90s, they were even more successful. And I asked myself, what happened over there? The beers didn't get it. It was the bubble economy in Japan. And I knew that Japanese didn't buy diamonds for consumption. They buy diamond because they have free money and they wanted to invest it in something. When you look at the market, diamonds were booming. I was very successful in Japan, but consumption, I remember going to Japan and you didn't see a woman wearing her diamond ring.
So is a diamond an investment? Does it hold its value?
No, definitely not an investment. The same way that any luxury is not an investment.
Yeah.
You buy it because you enjoy it.
Okay.
Eventually, if you would like to sell it sometimes, it doesn't really matter. You have a beautiful drawing that you buy for yourself, and tomorrow you don't, and then you just hang it on the wall and enjoy it. You buy a vintage car, and a vintage car, excuse me, but this is a wreck. Drives, but still nothing. If you were there 50 years earlier, nobody would look at you. But now, because it's 50 years old and it's vintage, so some people would appreciate the fact that you have a vintage car, and you'll have to pay 10 times or 20 times the price that car cost 50 years earlier when it was still driving properly. That's luxury. That's that part of the luxury. Nobody's going.
So what was it that was driving you? I mean, clearly you had an amazing journey in the diamond industry, and you were obviously very successful in it. But what was the passion for you in there?
So I was sitting there and applied my understanding. Actually, I arrived to a point where I understood. Okay, now I know why people are buying diamonds, and I went to my clients, and I told them, and they were successful. They were very, very successful, and I had fantastic business. But I arrived to a point where I had to have steady supply. And when I went to my suppliers, I told them, I know exactly which diamonds I need and which diamonds I can't need. They were manufacturing out of a parcel. And they asked me, you buy this, you have to buy that. And I told them, no, I buy this, I'll overpay, I don't mind. But I don't buy that because I know I'm buying what I know that I can sell.
Yeah.
So as long as I was living in Antwerp, could go on a daily basis and find my supply, it was fine. But then in 2008, I decided to move to Israel. All of a sudden, I couldn't have my supply. And then in 2008, the diamond market crashed, as I predicted 10 years earlier. I remember I moved to Israel. 2 weeks later, I received a phone call from a friend of mine. Isaac, where are you? I told him I moved to Israel. No, we need you here in Antwerp because we have an emergency meeting of the industry. What happened was, you remember the problem, financial problem. Actually, the banks had problems. Now banks started to realize that they gave free credit with no coverage. And they, just to illustrate, the bank gave $15 billion to the diamond industry. They were covered by $9 billion only. And these $9 billion were diamonds. That means that if the company, if the industry is going bust, there's nobody to recover the $9 billion that were supposed to support the debt. The industry was in big problem. So I told him, okay, I'll come. It was 2 weeks later. I'm going to come. I'm coming on a Sunday. And he tells me, okay, I'm going to call you tomorrow. Tomorrow is the meeting, the big meeting. I'm going to call you and you prepare your speech. At the pause, I asked him, Chaim, what happened? Why, am I supposed to speak? So he told me, you're not going to speak. You can ask from the public, but you're not going to speak. I asked him, why is that? So he told me, because you are too negative. I told him, what do you want me to say? They're business and in bankruptcy. He told me, yes, but you're not allowed to say it. That's why you're not. So
it's a house of cards and no one must talk about it because the cards will fall.
So I realized what happened, and I moved to Israel. I still managed to run my business for a few years in remote control. The American business in remote control, Japan was closed already for 10 years, but the United States was still doing well, but realizing that I'll have a problem with supply, I managed to carry it on for a few years, but that's it. And then I asked myself, what am I going to do? And I had an idea, but I needed connections that I didn't have. So I called somebody, and he told me, Isaac, you're not selling diamonds, you're selling knowledge. So sell knowledge. I told him, that's nice, but how you do it? How do you make money out of it? No, don't worry, I'm going to teach you. So this happened 8 years ago or something like this. I'm still waiting for his call. But meanwhile, try to figure out what actually do I want to do, who are my clients, who are my ideal clients, what is my focus, because I know that I can help everybody. The range of industries and the not for-profit, not-for-profit, as a teacher, if I'm spreading out too far, I'm going to get lost. So I tried to. It took me time to focus, to zero in, and to figure out who my clients are. What actually do I want to bring in? How do I identify them? What are the parameters that I have to look for finding them? And it means that if somebody who is not in my zone, into my soft point, he still can get my services, all my experience, all my knowledge into that niche of the market. So here I am.
What did you choose?
I chose entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs. Now, successful entrepreneurs means that they managed to start a company. They had a fantastic startup, and they went public. Share price went up. Just to see a couple of years later when the share price drops down and stays there. It's very easy when you find a company to look. When you find a company, you just look at the graph and say, what's the story here? And you figure out that they had a great story, something that really motivated them, something that they are still passionate about. And they've made it. Once you have the mindset, I've made it, I may have been, and from now on, I'm just waiting for my death because there's nothing exciting in my future. They don't care too much. They don't want to work too hard, because if you are passionate about it, you don't have a day, you don't have a night. You are all the time into your business, into your development, and all of a sudden, you reach a certain financial goal and you are dead. You know, sportsmen have the same problem. Make a career when they are 20. By the age of 40, you won't find any sportsman who is making big money any longer.
No.
They're healthy, which means that they're extremely wealthy, young, and don't know what to do with their life. All of a sudden, a guy who was extremely busy had to invest all his life because he had to train day in and day out to be in shape. It was great. And all of a sudden, he became a has-been. And they have psychological problems. Now, these entrepreneurs suffer from the same psychological problems with the one difference. You can keep on being an entrepreneur even when you are in your 90s.
Yes, you can.
So it's nothing that has to do with your physical shape. It has to do with your stamina. It has to do with your willing to fight the temptation of quick money. That I did it. No, you have to to jump out of your bed every day and say, I just started. I have so much to do. I'm just in the beginning of my road, and this is challenging. And this is what I enjoy doing it, which means now I'm doing it in business. You'll have a personal coach.
So there was a transition here. It sounds like you made the transition from having a physical business selling diamonds to selling knowledge. And how did you do that? Was that a networking thing? What did you do to actually?
It's networking, which is difficult for me because I came from from a business that had a mentality of selling products.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, I have to go into a network where I have to try to teach people, to train people. Not to actually, I don't like the word teaching. I never teach. It has to come from the discussion with them. So, what do you want me to talk about? And they tell me. And somehow I give classes once a week. I started with something, and then it developed into a class that actually lasted 15 minutes too long. And they later on told me, "Thank you, because you just opened our eyes." I didn't do anything. They asked questions. So I told them, figure out what the answer is. And they came with the answer. So they created a fantastic class. I have fantastic students. People are excellent if you just give them a chance.
So you call yourself a business psychologist. So where did you get, what is that title? Is that part of your MBA?
No, it's part of brand. I had a problem of figuring out what actually I'm doing in such a way that will make me stand out. Okay, so you're a mentor, but I can find you 1,000 mentors. What's the difference between you and them? Now you have to spend half an hour explaining the difference. I know that business psychologists don't exist.
Yeah.
So people ask me, what is this? Immediately I can explain them what the problem is. If this is a business psychologist or whatever, I tell them I take your business, put it on a couch. And I put a box of tissues and let your business speak.
A nice image. Put your business on a couch and give it a box of tissues.
Yeah. I remember when I told you I tried to do something just before the guy told me stop with the diamond business. It was my last effort. And I was working with a designer for my website. We were talking and I explained him what I'm doing. My focus was on diamonds, but he was listening to what I'm talking. He was listening between the words. So he told me, I came up with a design. Show me the design and ask him what it is. Look better. Instead of putting a ring with a diamond on top, he put a ring with a psychologist couch on top. He told me that's what you're doing.
So tell me, look, obviously in the diamond industry, success was sales. And in that industry, success was all about sales. What is your success model these days? What does success mean to you?
Okay, now when you say success is sales, you were very careful because one thing that success is not is making money. When people are in business to make money, they are going to fail.
Yeah.
I remember a guy named Naftali Klein. It was a meeting of De Beers clients in 1983. And I remember he stood up and told them, you don't understand me. I'm not in this business for business. Diamonds is my life. And that's what I'm expecting from people to have. And that they can use this business to fulfill their life, as a mean of self-development, as a means of self-actualization. And it's not easy. But if you are into money, forget about it. If you are into enriching the world, reaching more and more of your clients, and when I'm saying it's exactly like in luxury. People like in luxury, those who are in are ready to pay whatever price. And if you are not in, for example, if the dream of going up the Himalaya is not on your list, on your wish list, and say, what are those people doing? spending so much time, spending so much money, and eventually, who knows if they even able to succeed. And when they succeeded, it's gone. It's the pleasure of few minutes. They can't stay there. So you are an outsider, but there are those insider. These are your clients. So when whatever business, if you are in diamonds, the insiders are the consumers or the diamond customers. The outsiders are those who say diamonds are not for me.
But success, as you say, and for you, is not about the money. It's about the process around it. It's about self-actualization.
Money is the measure. Money is the measure. If I can help people, it's by me. I have a different formula.
So my next question, which leads on to that really, which is probably quite obviously answered here, is contribution to the world. What do you think you contribute to the world?
I make the world much nicer. I mean, the world has a better understanding. The world is a big word because I'm dealing with a handful of people.
Yeah.
But these handful of people start to think about the world in a different way. I would like my clients to have something meaningful to put on their tombstones when they die, or when they look back, they will say that they're happy. Or they feel great. No, but it was worthy to live here. I didn't spend my time over here 60, 70 years on this world, and I don't know what did I do over here. I want them to have a meaning in their life.
Yeah. So tell me, what is the one question that I haven't asked you that I should have done?
Usually I can tell you when people ask me, so what are you doing for business? That means, what are your tools for business? And I tell them, listen, my business is to ask questions, to tell stories, and eventually to crack a joke here and there. That's what I'm doing. If I have to give you answers, these are going to be my answers, but you have to find the answers yourself. So I never. I'm starting with asking questions. What kind of questions people ask me? Oh, people can ask. It's a tough question because if people ask, "How did you do? What did you do to get to where you got?" I tell them this is not important because this was my way. Your way should be unique, should be yours. Don't try to copy me. Definitely not. So if they ask about themselves, if they ask about me, if they ask about themselves, what should I do? Don't ask me. Look into yourself. I can tell you, I'm practicing karate already for 50 years. That means I've seen people from beginning stage to a very, very advanced stage. Beginners, you have a kind of cookie cutter practice because you have to teach them language. You have to teach them moves, and you have to teach them the basic and the correct basic mistakes. I remember yesterday I had a friend of mine, very advanced. We know each other definitely for 40 years. You are talking about somebody who practices seriously for many, many years. And he asked me, okay, Isaac, should I put the hand like this or should I put a hand like that? I told him, figure it out. Figure it out. That means
when did you start doing this?
When I was, now I'm celebrating the 50th year.
Wow. So you must be teaching this.
If you don't teach, you don't understand.
Yeah.
You don't understand. What is the question that I would like people to ask me? Ask me a good question.
That's a good question. So here's a good question.
Ask me now, for example, a good question that forced me to think about myself.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
That's what this is about. So it's interesting. I didn't know about the karate. That's a new thing. And I didn't even know about that. It's come out. So what about the karate is a kind of, it's a physics, a martial art, but there's also a lot of mindset behind it. There's a lot of thinking behind it.
You start with the physical training.
Yeah.
You start with the physical training, and you sweat a lot.
Yeah.
And you don't get injured if you have a good teacher, but somehow, somewhere, people do a wrong move or thing like this, and they got eventually injured when they are young.
Yeah.
And now I was yesterday by my physician. We spoke about my physical condition, and she told me, "But you are practicing." Yeah, but what happened was that I'm practicing in such a way that is more a mental practice, less a physical practice. So I can do at my level things that people are losing the breath and sweating, feeling them that it's difficult, and I'm just doing this exercise on and on and on. It's a lot of mental understanding, a lot of understanding that I take from karate and I mesh it into my work.
That's what I was thinking. There's a lot of synergy bringing karate, the thinking of karate into business, I would think.
Yeah, because my life is not okay. From, let's say, from 8 to 10, I'm studying. From 10 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to talk to my clients, and then by 5 o'clock, I'm going to practice. And then, no, you don't split your life into 3, 4, 5 segments. You are doing the same thing from morning till night. It's just how you express it.
Yes.
It's just the environment that you are working in. It's just the tools that you are using to express yourself, to do what you do all day long. So when you talk about synergy, there's always a synergy. Now I had a discussion with you. Who knows what kind of ideas are going to come into my mind and where they're going to be expressed? In what context? I'll take this podcast, go on air, and I'll put a post on LinkedIn telling them how great I am and how great you are, and everybody should listen to it, and I promote it. But this doesn't stop there. This may be a startup or maybe a side business.
So look, this is a fascinating conversation, and I think you and I could talk for quite a while. But I do need to kind of start winding us up, otherwise we will go on.
With pleasure.
How do people get in touch with you? Because you are clearly an interesting man to speak to.
Go on Google and you'll find me. But if you go to my website, www.isaacmostovicz.com,
okay,
you'll have my telephone, my email address.
Lovely.
Send me. Don't try to book I tried to do this calendar thing. I hate it. I don't know how to work it. I don't have a secretary to run for me, and I'm very bad at it.
I use the calendar thing because I get a lot of bookings, so it makes life a lot easier.
I know, but this is kind of discipline that I don't have.
Yeah.
You can find me on LinkedIn and send me a direct message.
Lovely.
This is the only social media platform that I'm on.
And what kind of people do you work with? Who are you looking for?
So the ideal profile of my client would be successful entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Who went out IPO at least. I think that the company should be at least $1 billion, but not too much.
Yeah.
Not too much beyond it. $2, $3, $4 billion, it's okay. Sometimes I take even smaller companies as well. The company is already 3, 4, 5 years post IPO. Because there I would like to see what happened post IPO.
Well, the IPO process creates a lot of energy, doesn't it? And it's a story. It's a story of it.
That's a story.
And everyone surges in on that story. Oh yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And of course, then the story dies.
Yeah, and the company dies.
Yeah,
and the company dies, and I'm dealing with dead companies. Call it this way.
So look, Isaac, it's been a fantastic conversation. I really enjoyed our time together.
Thank you very much. Let's see how you cook it into a nice podcast.
We come to the last conversation, which needs to be answered, the last point, and that is, what is the meaning of life for you?
I'm never looking. This is not a question that I would even look into, because meaning of life means understanding, is standing outside and understanding what it is. Enjoy it. Experience it. That's the meaning of life. And see that your experience is worthy.
Absolutely.
It's about the experience, about living it and living. I never met anybody happy who understood what the meaning of life is, who even delved into it. They just experienced it.
Live it. Just live it. That's a fantastic answer. Thank you. All your answers have been fantastic. I've really enjoyed our conversation. So Isaac Mostovicz, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
And that was Life, Passion and Business with your host Paul Harvey and my guest Isaac Mostovicz. If you are inspired to reach out to Isaac, you can find him at isaacmostovicz.com, genusthinking.com and on LinkedIn. Those links are available at the website Life, Passion and Business, and you can find them at the show notes above. If you are enjoying these programs, please give us a review, like and subscribe to us. A review takes just 60 seconds on iTunes, and if you take a screenshot and send it to me, I will send you a free gift. As always, thank you for your time and attention, and I will catch you later. All the best.